What's up guys? Today is a video about why I quit smoking weed every day in brackets, because yes, I still smoke it now and then, maybe once or twice a month. And the reason I'm making this video is because I think a lot of people could benefit from it. I want to be able to show my kind of story, my relationship with weed. I made a slideshow, as you can tell. So here's me as a little boy. A beautiful, innocent little boy. Look at the head tilt there. You can tell I'm a lovely little boy. And obviously this is here is an untarnished, beautiful, innocent little soul. As you can tell, I'm suited and booted. I'm looking great. Yeah, how amazing. But before we get into this, disclaimers. Okay, do you smoke weed, bro? Personally, if someone asks me this, I usually say no, or I say not really, because I only smoke once or twice a month, or maybe a gram or two a month. And I say no because relative to smoking 2 or 3 grams a day, like I used to do, and like a lot of people do, I don't really smoke weed. So if someone says, do you smoke weed, bro? I say, nah, not really, bro. I don't want to promote the use of any drugs in this video. This is actually what's the opposite of promotion? I'm not promoting the use of drugs in this video. I'm doing the opposite, to be honest, because drugs can be dangerous for your mind and body.
Drugs are bad. You shouldn't do drugs.
My personal relationship with weed is best described as a love-hate relationship. And I think this is the result of being someone that used to smoke all the time, all day, every day, to then quitting, going cold turkey, to then getting pulled back into it, and then losing myself to it, and then quitting. And so I've had an on and off relationship with weed for a long time. And only recently I've been really able to hold it at arm's length and be like, I will enjoy you once or twice a month. But even then, when I do enjoy it, I'm not the best version of myself when I'm smoking. I hardly go to the gym if I've got weed in the drawer. I'm a bit of a crappy dude when I've got bud. But when I've got it, all I can think about is smoking it. So basically it's turned me into this person that when I have it, I fall right down into the hole of being a weed smoker. But while I'm doing that, I lose myself and I start to hate myself, and then I'll push it right away. So even now as a 25-year-old, I still don't have any control over this. When I do have it, I don't have any control over much of my behavior, and it's sad and it's disappointing. And I think that's probably the result of this big long history of my relationship with marijuana, weed, pot, whatever. I do think that maybe people that start smoking once they've matured, brains matured, bodies matured, like 23, 24, 25 years old, maybe these people have a better time at controlling their relationship with weed. Okay. So here's me during the peak of my stoner phase. And at the time, I had no idea it was a phase. At the time, I was fairly sure I was going to be smoking weed all day, every day for the rest of my life. I didn't see any reason why not to. This plant made me feel good. Smoking this plant made me feel great. It was an escapism, and as you can see, I fully committed to the role and to the white hippie stoner stereotype. I got the dreads in, and I went all in, as you can tell. And I was not only a consumer of this plant, but after noticing the difference in price between a small amount and a large amount, and after playing enough Monopoly and Grand Theft Auto and simulation games, I wanted to make money off this, and I became a merchant. That's all I'll say. I became a merchant of this plant as well. But yeah, at the time I thought this was the best, this was the bee's knees, this was mint. Look at me, I look cool, I smoke this plant, fuck the system, fuck the world. I don't want money, I don't want a safe career, I just want to do this. I just want to be this. Wow, how things have changed. And this is me a bit more recently. Here's me getting on the left, here's me getting a master's degree, which I'm extremely proud of. And on the right, there's me scuba diving, and this year I got qualified I forget the exact name of the qualification. I'm scuba qualified with a dry suit certification as well. And I don't think I would have been able to achieve these two things if I was still an everyday stoner. There is no way I would have got the master's degree, and there's no way I would have chased the scuba diving for numerous reasons. Concentration, being able to socialize large groups, all that kinds of stuff that we're going to get into right now. But there's no way I would have done this if I was still an everyday stoner. So I went from this, fuck the system, fuck life, I don't want a degree, I don't want anything, I just want to smoke and lose myself and get high, to this. Now I've got a master's degree and I'm scuba qualified and I feel like a bit more of an adult. And isn't that great? Yes. Okay, so the first reason why I quit smoking weed every day is obviously financial reasons. £5 to £25 every day, does that sound about right? If you're smoking weed every day, you're smoking it once every day? Probably not. You're smoking it as much as you can every day? Probably. So that 25 could easily be pushed up to 30, 35, depends on what your price is and who's your guy. But that's a lot of money, £5 to £25 every day. Let's average out at £10 a day. £10 times 365 days of the year is £3,650 per year. That's a shit ton of money, okay? You're a young person, you're trying to become financially stable. That should be your main goal in life. And as soon as you come out of whatever phase it is that you go through in your late teens and your early 20s, or whenever it ends, everyone always comes to the same starting point in the real world, which is I need financial stability. Financial freedom is the real end goal, but just financial stability and a financial foundation to live your life, okay? With money comes safety, not safety from demons or goblins or criminals, safety from the system. Because if you don't have money, the system wants you to make money and it urges you to make money, and if you don't, it starts really hurting you, it starts taking things from you. So you have to make money, and that's a lot of money. So even if you wasn't going to save that money, £3,600 per year. You can go on holiday for a week for £400. You can visit different parts of the world for £400 to £500. A second-hand car, anywhere between £1,000 to £5,000. A new suit, a brand new, sparkling, well-fitting suit. I don't know, £200 at the cheapest. These are some of the things you could buy if you had more money, but you don't. Because you spend all your spare money on weed, because you smoke it all day, every day. What's the trajectory from here? It's a flat line, baby. You're going nowhere, boy. A little quote here from me, obviously. Do you want to stay financially trapped in your 9-to-5 hamster wheel? No. All this money's being spent so you can cope with your shit life that might be better if you actually made an effort. And I should have added there, and stop smoking weed. It's cope. All of these things are cope. When I play games, it's cope. Coping with the fact that I'm not happy with my life. It's all cope. Stop coping, because you're shooting yourself in the foot. Mental health, the second main reason. Okay, so fucking hell, mental health with marijuana. I'll just read the slide rather before I go into my personal experiences. Psychoactive plant, obviously it's a psychoactive plant, okay? It affects some people worse than others. Just because your friend can smoke weed all day, every day, and maybe he still gets his homework done, maybe he still goes to work, doesn't mean that you can. And if you've been trying to smoke weed every day and still be a normal person, but it's obviously not working, you have to realise that you might not be the person that is able to do that. I would say only 5 to 10% of people that smoke are actually able to stay on top of their life. And if you're one of those people, that's fine. Like if you're watching this and you're saying none of these things affect me, and that's true, and you're not coping or lying to yourself, then that is actually fine and great, if it's legit. But most people want to be the person that can smoke and still be a productive person, but they're not. And they're lying to themselves, and I was lying to myself for years and years and years, thinking that I could be someone that smokes and basically gets away with it. I can enjoy it, but still strive for more. I was not striving for more. I was going nowhere. Anxiety, depression, overly self-conscious, paranoid. I have felt all of these while being a full-time stoner. Anxiety to leave the house, anxiety to speak to people, anxiety around girls. Depression, oh for sure, depression while you're smoking weed all day every day. You are frying your brain. You are frying all the receptors that release different chemicals and are supposed to time when you're happy. If you can be happy by rolling a doobie and smoking it in 5 minutes, why would you ever commit to spending an hour or 2 hours working on a project or a business or a YouTube video or anything? If you can source happiness in 5 minutes, why would you spend 2 hours to get the same happiness? You wouldn't. So you need to think about things like dopamine detoxing, those kinds of ideas and topics, okay? Depression can come with everyday marijuana use, definitely. Overly self-conscious, overly worried. You're in public, you're thinking, oh, do my hands look normal? Is there something on my eyebrow? Should I be looking down or up? All of these things are things that you think a lot less when you're sober and feeling good and you're in the gym and you're feeling nice and healthy. You don't walk down the street and think, oh, am I walking normal? I've done this. I've been high and a stoner every day and I'm walking and it's like, I'm thinking, am I walking like a normal person? That is not a normal thought, okay? If you've thought that because you're so high and you're still getting stoned every day, then there's a problem. Paranoid that your friends are whispering behind your back, paranoid that your girlfriend's cheating on you. Paranoia comes with marijuana use, for sure. Okay, addiction leads to bad decision-making skills. So obviously it gets in the way of your logic, it gets in the way of your decision-making. How are you gonna promise yourself the next day that you're gonna go to the gym and shower and brush your teeth and clean the house and do the dishes and put the washing away if you wake up the next day and you have an addiction and the addiction wants to smoke weed? You're not gonna be able to do the things. Bad decision making. Too anxious to speak to people, yeah, we discussed that. Too anxious to leave the house, yeah. Terrible eating habits. You don't eat all day because you've been getting high and hiding from yourself and your responsibilities, and it gets to 10 p.m, you get a takeout, you get a takeaway, you get a pizza, you get a kebab, chicken wrap. I know how it goes. Too depressed to go to the gym. Always like, oh, you know, tomorrow I'll go to the gym. Too depressed to speak to girls. Too depressed, some people, to get out of bed. And paranoid again, yeah. So mental health. There's loads of mental health problems that can come with everyday weed smoking or weed smoking in general. And if you have these symptoms, then you need to stop smoking weed every day. Don't lie to yourself and say it's okay or I don't suffer that bad from this. In an addiction, you will find it very easy to say things that are cope, things that you can say to yourself to trick yourself to carry on with the addiction. You need to be able to separate thoughts that are from the addiction and you. If you're in the midst of an addiction and you wake up the next day and you promise yourself that you wouldn't smoke weed until you'd done all your tasks, and you wake up and the thought pops into your head, oh, why don't we just chill out for another day and smoke weed? You need to understand that that's the addiction speaking and you're not the addiction. You have to separate these two things because it's kind of latched onto you and become part of you. You need to pull it apart and almost distrust your own urges because that's addiction. You have to distrust them and kind of build a new relationship with your own actions where it's almost like an elder and a younger or a teacher and a student. You have to look after yourself and become like your own father. You have to look after yourself. Yeah, anyway, sidetracked. Physical health. Smoking kills. Smoking negatively affects your cardiovascular system. Premature aging and wrinkling of the skin. Do you want to age? Maybe if you're 17 you think it's cool that your friend looks a little bit older because he's been smoking cigarettes for years. But when you're 25 and he looks 35, it's not cool anymore. Smoking decreases blood flow, increasing the chances of ED. That's when this goes like this, okay? Not good. Smoking causes this. It clogs up your systems and your veins and your blood flow. Causes high blood pressure. Why are you ill all the time? Do you always have a cough? Do you always have a cold? You're always ill. Why is your immune system on its arse all the time? Because you're smoking. You're burning things and inhaling burning fumes. It's bad for you, obviously. Why can't you jog for 3 minutes without almost dying? Because you're smoking all the time. Is this safe? You know, we're not in the savannah safari anymore. We're not running away from lions anymore, but there's still dangers out there. There's still criminals or thugs or dangerous people or just dangerous people in general. You need to be able to run and be fit as a human being, or at least I think we should all strive to be fit and able to move and run around and stuff like that. Why are you dizzy after standing up fast? Because you smoke all the time and because you've got a really bad cardiovascular system and you're not well and you're not fit, okay? Societal reasons. So let's go back to this guy. Do you think this guy was able to get a job easy? No. Do you think anyone took this guy seriously that was above the age? Do you think anyone above the age of 25, above the age of 30, took this guy seriously? Unless they were like a super cool person that had dreads themselves or, you know, was into the hippie scene or the music scene. Other than that small minority of super cool, chill people, do you think this guy was took seriously? Do you think he got replies from jobs that he'd applied for? Do you think when this guy meets his girlfriend's dad, do you think the dad likes him? No. Societal reasons. Obviously, you might not have dreads as an everyday stoner, but if you're an everyday stoner, it's obvious to other people. Most stoners aren't able to conceal the fact that they are a stoner, and stoners have a bad rep. I've met a few stoners that were well-functioning people, but most, without realising it, and I was one of them, most of the time, if you're smoking weed every day, your kind of critical thinking skills and kind of social awareness skills start to go down the drain because you're an addict. So, yeah, in terms of society and hierarchy and wanting to improve yourself or wanting to make connections or meet new women or meet new friends, there's lots of downsides to being a stoner. Unless those people are also stoners with no ambition also, then you can get along and meet up to smoke weed. But what's also funny about that is that you think they're your friends, but as soon as you stop smoking weed, they're not. They don't call you. It's like you can't hang out with them because they want to smoke and you don't. And even if you were to sit there and not smoke while they smoked, you just wouldn't be on the same wavelength, or you'd just sit there and think, what is this person doing? Like, what a waste of time. Have I already said anything? Yeah, you're going to pass your job interview? No. Because the weed has caused you to be sluggish, decreased your memory capability and decreased your vocabulary. So in the interview, or when you're meeting your girlfriend's dad, or when you're meeting a potential important person that could help you improve your life, you just come across like a bumbling, anxious idiot. Because your brain's all over the place, because you've been fucking getting high as a kite all the time. Yeah, I think I've said everything there. Personal journey, this last one's a little bit wishy-washy. Are you constantly telling people that you want to quit smoking weed every day? If you are, and you carry on smoking weed every day, you're making yourself look like a fucking idiot, people aren't going to trust you with things, your credibility is going down the drain. Yeah? So if this is you, you're constantly telling people you want to quit, then you should quit. There's a part of you inside, that inner core, that authentic self, that knows you really need to quit. And it's the addiction that you're allowing in constantly, and you're allowing to kind of masquerade as part of yourself. It's the addiction that wants to carry on. You want to quit. Hating yourself for losing the battle with your addiction and smoking. I have sat with a spliff in my hand, crying because I promised myself I'd quit. And I've got to 1 a.m. and I've been scratching and itching and my eyes are wide open because I'm getting over a weed and a tobacco addiction at the same time, because in the UK we smoke both at the same time together, yeah? I've failed in quitting. 1 a.m, called the guy, got the stuff, sprant to the spot at 1 a.m. in the dark on the streets, got to the spot, got it, smoked it, and instantly just extremely disappointed in myself and sad. It all trying to quit but not following through kind of pulls you apart, but not in a good way, not like I was saying before. It pulls you apart in a horrible way. It's bad. Realizing your potential and knowing you want more from life. So if you're a person that's been able to dream big and want a big thing, and you've had some kind of revelation and you know that you're capable of more, then from that point on, you're not going to be happy in your life unless you're trying to get that more or be more. It doesn't matter if you get it or not, but you'll feel fulfillment and you'll feel content by striving for it. Yeah? Some people never imagine that they could have more or be more, and so they're never going to feel that shame from not trying. But if you've already imagined that you want more, then yeah, you're not going to be happy unless you're moving forward to it, regardless of if you get it or not. Knowing that life is precious and consciously choosing to be a bloomer, not a doomer. So a bloomer is someone that sees all the terrible crap in the world, but chooses to be that beacon of hope and beacon of encouragement and self-help and friendliness and love. And a doomer is the person that sees all of that stuff and isn't able to strive for better. And so they kind of just sink into it and accept it. You know these people, the people that say, it's all fucked anyway, we're all going to die anyway. Those people that talk about things in that way will smoke weed every day or drink every day, because that's how they are, that's how they see the world. But if you're a bloomer and you want more, you're going to be actively thinking about your physical health, your mental health, your financial health, and all of these things because you want to improve yourself. So that's some personal reasons why you on your journey might want to quit smoking weed. And these are things that I felt. All of these things that I've said are things that I felt. These are some of the reasons I wanted to quit weed. I had to quit smoking weed every day because I knew that's what I wanted. I'd cried over it. I'd watched repeatedly Jordan Peterson, okay? Cringe, cliche, but Jordan Peterson saying, sort your fucking life out. And that had really sank into me. And that had really helped. And I knew, and I'd been able to dream big, and I knew that I wanted more. I wanted to create content, and I didn't want to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life and be depressed. I chose to strive for more, and whether I get it or not, I don't know, and I never will know, but it doesn't matter, because as long as I'm trying to move towards it, that's what's going to make me feel content and fulfilled, because that's what I want. Okay, so 5 reasons why I quit smoking weed every day. Here's me, beautiful little boy. My parents loved me at this point. During this phase, me and my parents had a really bad relationship. I'd been kicked out. from the house. They didn't know much about drugs, so for them, me smoking weed every day was me being a crackhead. A lot of people have a very two-dimensional view. So this drove me and my parents apart so much. And to be honest, there was large portions of my life during this phase where I thought I'd never actually be close with them again. How sad is that? How bad is that? I thought, I'd be one of these estranged kids and actually filed for job seekers, and I had to get my parents to sign a thing to confirm to the government that I was estranged from my parents. How sad is that? And this was because all I wanted to do all day, every day was smoke weed. That's all I wanted to do. If this is you, if this is ringing bells and you're a young person, just know that when you finally come around and realize you want money and financial safety, and then you stop smoking weed every day, and you realize that you want your parents in your life and you are grateful because they've done so much for you, even if you don't get on and aren't on the same page on all these things, are still your parents. They still grafted so hard. If you're that person, then you're me from then. That's a bad way of phrasing that sentence. I've been there, and I warn you that the best thing you can do is get a grip and control your life and kind of push this plant to the side, or at least push it away a little bit. Don't lose yourself to it. This is an extremely long rant. I'm going to end it now. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, if you're still watching the video, then please hit like, please comment. If you are struggling and in need of help, then please comment and I'll fucking say some wise response and it might help. I don't know. But yes, weed is not the answer to all of your problems. It's just another way of getting high. It's not a miracle cure for all of the world's diseases, and it might not be able to enact world peace, but it's also not the devil. It's also not crack. It's also not the worst thing ever. You need to have a mature understanding of this drug to be able to have a mature relationship with this drug. So yeah, I think that's everything actually. So peace.